Complete understanding. Shalom, shalom, everybody. I pray everybody is doing well. Hey, it's Midweek Meditations, and I know we start at 5:30 Central, but we're a little late today. But you gotta forgive your brother. You gotta forgive your brother. Forgiveness is written about all in the Bible, so I pray that y'all have a forgiving spirit because you actually apply what's in the Bible. Yep, had a little bit of trouble with the equipment today. Don't know why. Multiple things just didn't work today. Maybe something needs to be upgraded. We'll see. We'll be taking a look into that. But for today, I think we have a little stability so we can go ahead and get this word and message out. So if everybody can hear, if everybody can see properly, please go ahead and just type it in the comments that you're able to get it. We'll start in just a few moments. I want to share the broadcast with a couple people. Normally I would have already done that by now, but had to do the troubleshooting. But all praise to the Most High. Challenges like this is just an opportunity for you to keep yourself in the spirit and prove to God that you're not only in the spirit when things are good. And all praises. You want to make sure that you're in the spirit, good, bad, rain, sleet, or snow. So I'm hitting the share button. Make sure you check out midweekmeditations.com to check out your previous Midweek Meditations. Check out the Bible trivia every Tuesday, the daily verses. Keep yourself in the spirit, studied up, meditating on the things that are needful. Which is the Bible. That's the entire Bible. Line upon line, precept upon precept. All things are written for inspiration of God, and they're able to be used for the edification of you saints. They're able to be used for changing you into a better person. And that's what it's all about. So I'm going to hit one small round of sharing. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, Midweek Meditations, what we're going to talk about today, charity starts at home. That's what we're going to talk about today, charity. Charity. That's something that's a very popular topic in the Bible, something that needs to be spoken of in the Bible, because if we don't have charity, we don't have anything. We don't have anything if we don't have charity. See, a lot of people, they do a lot of things, and they wonder how it could be that they're not going to end up in the kingdom. Even though they've read these different verses, they need to meditate on them, because you got to make sure that they're real in your life. So let's see what we have here. Let's start with let's see what we're going to start. We're going to go to Paul's writings. And we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 1 and 13. And verse 2. That's where we're going to start today. Let's see who we got in here. Amita, Hadassah, Eleazar, Solomon, Tamiko, I see y'all. Zuriel, I see you. Okay. All praises for joining. Yona, Maria, Gabriel, Elia. Okay. Zuri, Katura. Hey, welcome to Midweek Meditations. I just want to make sure that I can share what I've been reading in the Bible with you, so that perhaps it can provoke you to good works. Perhaps it might be the trigger and the catalyst to help you study something that you needed to study to help benefit your life. That's what it's all about, Midweek Meditations. I meditate on these things and share them with you. This is really just sharing and being, open with my brothers and sisters. That's what it's all about for me. So we're going to get started. We're going to start at 1 Corinthians 13 and 2. It says, and though I have the gift of prophecy. Nope, we're going to start at verse 1. Though I speak with tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries, and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I can remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. We got to stop right there. we got to understand that if we don't have charity, we're not anything. We're nothing. Charity is so important that you have a whole chapter right here that's written to it. And there's more than just this chapter, but you got to understand charity is so important that all the other stuff doesn't matter unless you have that. The other things matter, but you might as well not even show up if you don't have charity. So this is an important topic. But as we bring it up, charity starts at home. The problem is many of us lack charity, and it's hard for us to gain charity in the moments or exercise charity in the moments that we need it most, because we don't exercise it in the moments that we're in the most. So I need you to think about it. We don't exercise charity in the moments that we need to exercise it the most, because we don't exercise charity in a place where we can exercise it the most. That's something to meditate on. Get yourself in the spirit. Think about that. So, as important as charity is, many of us lack it, and we have an extreme lack of it. And in order for us to become good at this, we must first practice it in the most comfortable of environments, the most comfortable of places. You know, let's go to 1 Timothy 4:12. It says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers, in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity." This is Timothy, a young man, who should not be despised because of his youth, as long as he has the right attributes. He should have charity as one of those major attributes. And because he has it from a youth, from a young man, he's able to really exercise it throughout his life in the moments where it's needed the most. Now, examine the fact that he has had charity even at a young age. And that means that we should have charity even at a young age. We got to be trained up in these things, though. You know, as a father, I have to understand that folly is bound in the heart of a child. But charity is something that you're going to have to teach. That's what we're going to examine a little bit today, on the need to teach it and what and how to teach it. Let's go to 1 Timothy 5. Proverbs 22:6. Let's go to Proverbs 22:6. The Bible says in Proverbs, this is a great place to read daily from in Proverbs. You know, a proverb a day will keep the sinful person away, if you ask me. I like to get a Sirach a day too. But Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train up a child the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." See, when we look at Timothy, he must have been trained from a young, because as he got older and older, he didn't depart from the ways that he knew. He knew as a youth, even though he had a lot of responsibility as a young man, that he had to have charity. He had to be in the spirit of faith and in purity. But if you train up a child the way that he should go, he won't depart. So when you look at the fact that many of us lack charity, and we're probably in our 30s and our 40s and 50s or whatever, that lack of charity now because you lacked it as a child. And that lack of charity as a child is because you lacked being taught it by those who were taking care of you, your parents. And that's probably because they lacked it, and generation of lack of charity. Now, it might have gotten worse from generation to generation, or maybe it has gotten better from generation to generation. But we must understand that if we don't have a solid foundation in charity, when it's time to be charitable, and God is paying attention to that charity, you won't have it. And you'll need it, and you'll be without. Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. That's where we're going next. Now, there's brothers and sisters right here that are lacking charity. There's brothers and sisters who have been in situations where someone's lack of charity has maybe deterred or disturbed their faith. Or the lack of charity may have been so evident in that person that it caused others around them to be out of the spirit. But so what we got to do is make sure that we get this message to the people. We got to make sure that we spread the act of charity, because we spread the things on World Star Hip Hop like wildfire. That spreads. Oh, the Kardashian has done this. That spreads. LeBron has done that. That spreads. A fight spreads. Someone's naked spreads. A shooting spreads. A virus spreads. But is charity spreading? Is charity growing in this world? Are more and more people learning how to be charitable? Well, if the answer is no, you should share the broadcast. If the answer is yes, you should still share the broadcast, because somebody may need to hear this. So as we continue, I'm going to go and pull another scripture, Matthew 5:14. You hit the share button real quick, okay? So here we are, Matthew 5:14. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. See, when we look at what Christ is saying here, this is the red letter, this is Christ. You know, everybody's not my Jesus, and they only want to hear what Jesus had to say. They don't like when I go to the Old Testament. They don't like when I go to the Apocrypha. They just want to hear Jesus, what Jesus is talking, and he says that being that you are considered light, right? And if we're going to use precept upon precept, we understand that the commandments are a light, and the law is a lamp, right? It says that you are the light of the world, and a city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. As you are a light and you are illuminating the rest of the world, you can't be hid because you are shining that bright. And while you're a candle, while you're a light, is meant to be seen, is put in a position to be seen. And that light is supposed to give light to the rest of the house. And everyone in the house can see that. So you, being spiritual, got to let your light shine before men, so others may see your good works. Your good works in this situation is charitable moments. Charitable moments are your good works. Other people need to see your charitable moments. That is one reason why the world lacks charity so much, is because we don't see examples of charity very often. You know, we see examples of violence. We see examples of all type of sin. We see examples of everything except what we need the best example of, which is charity. So you being spiritual, right? Because everybody on here is spiritual. Everybody is holy, sanctified. You know, all of you are working on your repentance. And when Christ returns, you are shoo-in for the kingdom, right? Well, you answer that for yourself. You know, you got to be confident. You got to seek your own salvation with fear and trembling. You got to, you know, make sure that your calling and election is sure. So it says, let your light shine before men, that others may see your good works. So as we learn a little bit about charity today, this is what we're going to focus on, is making sure that we have good works that others can see. Charity being that thing. Verse 19. It says, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So while we're doing all these things that we're doing that are wrong, you know, all the thou shall nots, that's what we do. The Bible says thou shall not, we say thou will do for some reason. I don't understand it, but that's how Israel does. And being that I'm an Israelite, being that I have repenting to work on as well, I'm not going to act like I don't need to improve, so we all can improve together, okay? It says, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, it's showing that by you doing something wrong, you teach others to do wrong. By you breaking commandments, you teach others to break the commandments. By you being in the midst of sin, you teach others to join you in the midst of sin. That's going to make you be least in the kingdom of heaven, meaning you're not going to get into heaven if we read on. And it says here, but whosoever shall do and teach them, who shall do the things that the Bible tells you to do and teach them, meaning whether you set up a classroom, whether people are just observing your light shining in front of them, that's teaching, you shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So we got to understand this, man. We got to examine it. Everybody wants to call themselves a Christian. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, now I'm an Israelite and I'm so different from the religion of Christianity. I'm an Israelite and I'm so different from all the other nations. I'm an Israelite and I'm so different from this other organization that doesn't do it the same way I do. But let's make sure that you got charity, since you boasting and bragging, because if you don't have charity, you don't have anything. So we got to examine ourselves and check ourselves to make sure that we even worthy to speak and to tell somebody else about themselves when we ourselves are still lacking charity. So it says here in Matthew 5:14 through 16, also verse 19, that we got to be examples. Good examples, because our example teaches other people. Our example is seen by other people. We got to be examples. So I want to shout out to examples that I see here on the screen. I see Ariel in the building. You've been an example to others. I've seen moments of your charity, and it has probably rubbed off on others, and now they're more charitable because of it. All praises to the Most High. I see Eleazar. I see Zuriel. I see Nicole Bennett. Your charity has not gone unseen. I see Kanaya, Hadessa, Gabriel. I see y'all. Now, a charitable act, we're going to find out, ain't always the charity that you're thinking of. See, I need some interaction. I need some feedback from the audience. I need to see, what do you call charity? How do you define charity? So for those of you who are listening, type on the screen, type in the comment section what charity means to you. And while we are waiting on your comments to come in, I'm going to then define charity. All right, so let me give y'all a moment to do that. Now, while that's going on, I also want you to share the broadcast. And I also want to make sure that you can hear and see well. I see one person said the sound is muffled, while others say it's good. So please make sure it's not on your end by restarting. All right, cool. So I'm going to hit the share button a little bit just to be a good example to others, right? So I'm hitting the share button. And that's a charitable act that I'm doing by hitting the share button. It's a charitable act by me being on this broadcast right now. So here we go. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. Because in order for us to really learn charity, we have to model charity to others. You know, that's what this verse in Matthew is talking about. Being a model citizen, being a role model. You, your children, your spouse, your extended family, they need to see you doing charitable acts. Not to be vainglorious, not so you can say, look at me, I am doing charity. No, no, no. But so that you can be an influence, a positive influence on others. So that others may then learn from your positive, good, charitable works. And then do the same. I see Gabriel talking about 1 Corinthians 13. That's a good answer. The fruit of the Spirit, type spirit, that's good. I need some more interaction. I'm going to give y'all a few more moments. Whether it be a dictionary definition on what you think it is, you know, whether it be, you know, however you think it is, just give me your answer. Because that's going to be used to really define it from a different perspective if yours doesn't line up the same, and it's okay because it gets the conversation rolling. So we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. But what is the them here? It's the commandments, right? It says, verse 6, and these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. So these words, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. These words which are that are commanded to you, teach these to your children. And shall talk of them when thou sittest in the house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Charity is being talked about in the Old Testament. Charity is being talked about in the commandments. When you talk about the 10 commandments and you talk about thou shalt not kill, steal, commit adultery, etc., those are charitable acts. When you talk about the greatest commandments and you shall love thy neighbors, you love thyself, that is being charitable. So you should be teaching your kids this. When you are in the house with your children, that's what you should be talking about. Charity. How many of you are teaching your children charity? You got 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 5, 10, 15, 20-year-olds. Do you talk about charity to your children? When they're sitting in the house, instead of watching cartoons all day, playing video games all day, on their tablet, on their cell phone, have a moment to talk about charity. When y'all are going for a walk, see, some of y'all never get out of the house. But if you ever get a chance to go out of the house and go walk down the creek, get some fresh air, get some sunlight. If anyone ever does that, talk about charity. And when thou lies down, before you go to bed, have that prayer moment. Have that conversation with your children, your spouse, your loved ones, and talk about charity. What else? It says, when thou risest up. First thing you do in the morning, after you brush your teeth, is have charity. Have charity. Speak on charity. I see you, Renan. All praises for joining in. I'm not going to call you out. I accept your apology, though. It says, when thou liest down. Another thing, while you sitting in the bed tossing and turning and can't get yourself to sleep, put your cell phone down, turn the TV off, and have a conversation with your spouse about charity. To ask yourself, what are you going to do? Ask your spouse, what can you do to be charitable tomorrow? These are the things that we don't do. See, we're real good at talking about everything but what's important. Remember, charity, if you don't have it, you don't have anything. Nothing else matters without charity, right? So, dang it, Renan, I was trying to be charitable. Don't tell nobody when I say I'm not going to call you out. All praises to the Most High God. Hey, Brother Renan, bless his heart. He liked to call me every time I get on the class. Every time I start to teach. Every time I start to meditate and share that with you. But it's all good. I ain't mad. I just make sure I put my phone on mute next time. So it says that we should be talking about these things all day, every chance that we get. We should be talking about what God commands of us. And God commands us to be charitable. So let's go to Titus chapter 3, verse 14. I see a couple of people, Tamiko says, helping the less fortunate who can't help themselves. That's another aspect of charity. Renan, give me some aspects or definitions. What do you define charity as? What is charity? Anybody gets the opportunity to speak on that. All praise. So now we're going to go to Titus chapter 3, verse 14. Titus chapter 3, verse 14. It says, and let ours also learn to maintain good works for necessary uses, that they be not unfruitful. See, as we learn these things from a youth up, we also then have to learn how to maintain good works throughout our life. Remember, it said, train up a child the way that they should go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. That helps you maintain good works for the long haul. You then have it for your necessary uses. You will then be fruitful. Titus chapter 2, verse 7. In all things showing thyself a pattern of good works. In doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned. That he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. See, in order to not have any evil thing to be said of you, there's going to be works that you have to do. Let's get an example. Every time you have someone, a celebrity, right? They have a lot of money. They have a lot of influence. They have a lot of power. And it would seem that they could do no wrong. But there are always moments where something that they didn't do becomes the negative stand on them. Oh, Michael Jordan didn't speak out on the issues that were going on in the political world, the social injustices that are going on. Okay, that was a lack of charity on his part, is how people felt. Then they couldn't talk about his basketball game, but they could say, well, he didn't do enough for the people. It says that you got to do things to make sure that there's no evil thing that's said of you. You got to have a pattern of good works. And in showing your pattern of good works, it should lead to show how uncorrupt you are, how sincere you are, how serious you are, how your speech lines up with your actions. We're still talking about charity, though. Now we're going to go to 1 Timothy 5 and 10. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 10. It says, well reported of for good works. Now we're talking about the widows, right? The widows, as you read in chapter verse 9, the widow must be well reported of good works. If she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, if she have washed the saints' feet, if she have relieved the afflicted, if she have diligently followed every good work. See, people want to know if you've done good to others, because that will then influence how good they do to you. See, in this case, the widows need to be taken care of. The widows no longer have a husband to take care of them. So then we have to, while we have the chance, do good works, so that when we are out, down and out of luck, it's not about the works that we're still doing. It's about the legacy of works that we've had that then is an influence and a remembrance on others, so they can say, man, I got to do more for this person. Because look at all that they've done. If I could just repay them somehow. This is the recompense that God talks about when he says, do good to the godly man in Sirach. If she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, that is a charitable work. If she have washed the saints' feet, that's charity. If she have relieved the afflicted, that is charity. But a widow, you don't want to start doing it when it's too late. You should have been doing that from your youth up. Always have been of good report. If she have diligently followed every good work. Now we're going to go to Matthew 25. See, this is just charity. We're just talking a little bit about something that we all need to get better at, something that we all need to change within our life. While you're so focused on getting a wife, for you single brothers, how about you focus on getting charity with that same energy? Sisters, while you so focused on getting you a Lord, because you can't wait, you got to get something, you just so lonely, put that same energy into charity. Matthew 25 and 35. For I was an hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. These are the things that you could do to help and bless others. But many of us have never fed anybody, have never gave drink to anybody, have never took a stranger in. Now, I say anybody, but yeah, okay, you did it to people you knew. You did it to people you was cool with. But many of us have never learned how to have this type of spirit toward people who were not in our immediate circle, toward people who were not already, very well benefited by your presence. Many of us have never thought about others and helped others. And that's something that God is trying to get you to understand. Christ here in the red letter is trying to get you to understand. It says, naked and ye clothed me. I was sick and ye visited me. See, a lot of times you brothers and sisters be sick and nobody gives 2 cents. Nobody cares. Nobody is worried about you. And it's really disheartening to be in a situation like that where nobody cares. I was in prison and you came unto me. See, a lot of people, God, for whatever reason, have been locked away. Some by innocency, and some by guiltiness. But yet and still, to keep a brother or a sister in the spirit, it would have been nice for someone to just show that they care by a visit. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hunger and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When, see, notice who is asking the question. It's the righteous, the people who actually do the right thing. Christ is telling them that you've done this to me, even though you haven't seen me, even though I have not even been on the earth all this time. Even though I've not been in your presence all this time, you have been charitable to me. But when? You weren't even around, Lord. He says, or naked and clothed thee, or when saw thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. The Most High God, through the Spirit of Christ, is showing you here that when you show charitable acts to your brothers and your sisters, it's like you're doing it to Christ. See, a lot of you have to examine if a brother or sister was in need, would you help them? Would you do something kind for them? And if your answer is no, because I don't know him, understand that maybe you got to come up with a new game plan. Maybe you got to figure out another way. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying a complete, total stranger, which you know nothing about, because there's scriptures, there's balance, right? There's always another balancing scripture to make sure that you don't go overboard, too far left or right. But you got to then say to yourself, but I could get to know brothers. I could get to know sisters. I could put myself in a position to where it don't hurt me too bad. I could live a life of thoughtfulness and charity so that I can then apply the scriptures properly. See, a lot of us don't meditate or think on it, so you never get a chance to do it. Because think about the flip side of what's about to be said here. Verse 41. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire. No, let's go up. Let's go. Yep. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. So you had the ones on the right who were blessed, but you had the ones on the left who were getting cursed, who were not getting the inheritance of the kingdom that was prepared, who were not in a good favor and space, right? Verse 42, For I was a-hungered and you gave me no meat. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you took me not in. Naked and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison and you visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hunger, or a thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer, saying, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not unto me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. See, I don't think y'all caught it. You're going to be punished, Israel. You're going to be punished if you don't minister unto others. If you don't feed, clothe, shelter, visit, help people. That's a requirement of you. But because you're so caught up in yourself, you never even think about others. May be a case. Because what you have is so important, you never put provision to have this charitable moment. Now, don't get me wrong. Your life is important, and you got to take care of business. But because you're so caught up in all the wrong things, you're not caught up in the right things. See, the work that you do should benefit others. But most of the time, the work that we do only benefits ourselves. And if you're doing it right and you're thinking about it from the right perspective, charity comes natural. Charity comes easy. But when charity is not even a thought, The moment that you have an opportunity to do it, charity is the hardest thing to do. And that's why you got to start from the youth up. That's why you got to start in your house. That's why you as parents got to teach your children charity. You as husbands got to teach your wives charity. You as sisters, wives, you got to be able to help show your husband charity. Be a light, be an example to charity. So now, go to Galatians 6 and 10. Galatians 6 and 10. Let's see what Nicole Bennett said about Luke chapter 6, verse 32 and 36. I want to just read that real quick in the background while y'all go hit the share button real quick. And I'll see if what she has about this. And we'll be talking about what charity is right after this. But we've been talking about it the whole time in case you didn't know. I'm going to read what Nicole Bennett said. Thanks, Nicole, for putting up that. It says this. Luke chapter 6, verse 32. For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? See, I love that you brought this scripture up, Nicole, because that's what I was saying. It's cool that you're doing things for people that you know, that's in your circle, that's in your family, but you got to extend beyond that if you really try and get on that God level. It says, and if you do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. Sinners know just as good a charity as you who call yourselves righteous. Sinners do just as well as those who think that they really are going to get the kingdom. See, you Israelites, y'all funny. Because you think you're so much better than the nations. You think you're so much better than those who are Israelites and don't even know it. You think because you know you're Israel, you're better. You think that you're so much better than another group of Israelites who don't seem to know as much of the deep mysteries as you. But you know better than the sinners. Because if you're only doing good to those who do good to you, if you're only doing good to those who you love, who you like, who you esteem, then really you ain't nothing. Really you not going in the right direction. Really God ain't dealing with you like that. There's a judgment and a punishment for the way that you've acted. But you thought you was good, but you're not. It says, and if ye lend to them of whom ye have hope to receive, what thank have ye? If you only giving to somebody because you know they're going to give back, then it's not really as good as you thought it was. For the sinners also lend to sinners and receive much again. But love ye your enemies and do good and lend, hoping for nothing again. See, that's another level that you guys are probably not on. Maybe some of you are. One or two, skip a few. But for the majority, we got to grow in this. See, it's so many people who, enemies, they are at war with. Whereas what Christ is trying to show you is when you have enemies, you should be a peacemaker. When you have enemies, you should be the one that heap coals of kindness upon their head. See, y'all not really listening today, but you got to listen. If you don't get nothing out of this, it's going to be bad for you because, we got a kingdom to get. We got salvation to attain. We don't want everlasting punishment. We want everlasting life. It says, love your enemies. See, somebody can feel this right now. You got somebody that you don't like. And that's why you didn't send in the broadcast when I said share. You got somebody who did you dirty. And that's why you always talking about them and always focused on them from a negative point of view, but you're not focused on them from a charitable point of view. You're not focused on them from a love point of view. Do good to any and everybody that you get the opportunity to do good to. And that's where we're going next. It says, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great. See, there's a reason why some of us are still stuck in such non-rewarding predicaments, non-rewarding situations. It's because we have no charity. It's because you have not done anything to set yourself up for your return of charity. See, remember what we read about the widows. It was going to be asked, did they have a good report? because now it's time to do charity unto them, but we see that you were not a charitable person. You were selfish. You were mean and cold-hearted to others. You had no compassion. And you were so filled with hate that you wouldn't help your enemy. You wouldn't have an act of kindness towards your enemy. So it says, and you shall be the children of the highest. See, that's when we're going to really be called God's children. See, we don't want to be the bastard sons. We want to be the favorite sons. We want to be the special children of the house, right? For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. So, Galatians 6 and 10 is where I wanted to go, because we got to always make sure that we never miss an opportunity to do good to others. It says here, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them that are the household of faith. We ain't going to always have the opportunity. So we got to do good to all men with every chance that we get. You never know when it was your last chance. So you got to stack it up, all the charitable moments you can get. And we therefore have the opportunity, let us do good unto all men, not just the ones you like, not just the ones who are in your circle, not just the ones who will tell you what you want to hear, not just the ones who will slide things under the rug for you, not just the ones who will speak smooth things, but also the ones who tell you the truth. And even though you don't like it, they told it to you for your betterment. Also the ones who are willing to rebuke you, who are willing to make sure that your sin is brought out so that you're aware of it. Those two. You better use your opportunity to do good to them. Because if you don't, it could be your last opportunity and you wasted it. It says, especially unto them who are the household of faith. If anyone is actually trying to be on the right side of God, you know, like I said, there's a lot of people that got different belief systems. There's a lot of people who know a little more or a little less than the other. But when you see somebody got some sincerity and they trying to keep at the faith, and they're really trying to walk the walk, instead of trying to prove to them how they're the devil, to prove to them that they're not as righteous as you, because you know you holier than thou, right? You think that you got it so great, but you filled with hate. Instead of that, build them up, because the scriptures talk about going and getting that lost sheep, and if you're not going to get that lost sheep, it's showing you that you really don't love your brother as you love yourself, right? Never miss an opportunity to do good. So now, I want y'all to go to Britannica.com. I'm not bringing anything up on the screen today. You got to take the notes and go look it up for yourself. See, that's what Midweek Meditation is all about, is provoking you to good works. Giving you a provoking thought of what to go study, what you can work on in your life. You know, this is what I've been meditating on for me. And prayerfully, by me sharing it with someone, it will help another. MidweekMeditations.com is where you can go look at all your other previous meditations that I've been doing, that I've been charitably sharing with you, because it may be good for you. It may help you. So we're about to go to Britannica.com and look up charity. And it's going to give you charity from the Christian concept. So this is the time for anyone who did reply and give their ideas of what charity is. Some people talked about charity being the spirit of forgiveness. Some people talked about charity being helping those less fortunate. Some people gave a couple of scriptures, which definitely talked about charity as well. All praise to the Most High God. Now we're about to see what the encyclopedia says about charity. Charity in the Christian thought is the highest form of love. See, charity is a form of love. Where the scriptures tell you to love your neighbor as you love yourself, charity is the highest form of love. So let's read on and understand more. Signifying the reciprocal love between God and man. That's what charity is a signifying act of the reciprocal love, meaning continuous back and forth love between man and God. See, God was full of charity toward us. So we got to then show charity fully toward man. And that thing has to be manifest in us. It says manifest in unselfish love of one's fellow man. Some of y'all are selfish. Some of y'all, your love can't go very far because your spirit is very selfish. Very selfish. But you got to get to the point where you get away from selfishness. See, selfishness is that spirit that a child has, mine. And every day, anytime they see another kid pick up their toy, then they want it. Didn't want it all day. Now they want it. They want to take, but never give. And that's why charity starts at home. Because you have to train that child the way that he or she should go from his youth up, so that when they're old, they won't depart. See, parents, you got to teach your kids charity. It's wrong to be selfish. It's wrong to not be willing to show your love to fellow man. Ezekiel, you got to make sure that you have charity towards your brother. Josiah, you got to make sure that you have charity towards your mother. But y'all got to be around each other and train each other up and give other people examples of what charity is. And even a parent can learn charity from a kid. Y'all think that, because you're the parent, you can't learn anything from the kid. But I tell you, kids teach you a lot because you see the innocency in their spirit. So it says, a man's love for man. This is what the Britannica Encyclopedia defines charity as. Charity is simply love for your fellow man. Now, so that goes beyond your average thought of charity for some people, which is giving money to the poor, giving them your leftover food, giving them your hand-me-down clothing. Yeah, that could be charity. But if it's not done with love, and it's just, here, I'm getting rid of this trash anyway, then maybe it's not charity. Maybe you failed at charity and you still not getting the kingdom even though you gave all this stuff to the poor. Let's go to av1611.com. This is the King James Dictionary of Charity. AV, that's the letter A and the letter V, 1611.com. And you look up charity there. We're going to go a little bit into it. It says charity, a noun. In a general sense, love, benevolence, goodwill, that disposition of heart which inclines men to think favorably of their fellow men, to think favorably of their fellow men and to do good, to do them good. So generally, love is benevolence, goodwill, and it is an inclination that makes you think of other men favorably. See, many of us don't think of other people very favorably. We think evil, but we don't think favorably. We always got an evil thought about it. Oh, that brother is this and that. I don't want to be around that brother. This brother or sister did this. But sometimes we got to think favorably toward our fellow man too. And even the wickedest of people, as you see, the sinners, they got charity. They know how to give to others. They know how to do for others. They know how to show love to others. So it says here, it references 1 Corinthians 8. It says 1 Corinthians 8 and 1. Now as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. See, a lot of people got a lot of knowledge, but it just puffed you up. Your spirit now big, but if you had charity, you could actually edify others. See, with your knowledge being so puffed up, you then are like the Pharisees, the scribes, and you begin to create children of hell that are worse than you are. But when you got charity, you really be edifying in a better sense than just having knowledge. If any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing yet as he ought to know. Now, it also goes into Colossians 3. Let's see what they talked about in there. It just gives a reference. I had to go find the specifics. Let's go to verse 14. Colossians 3:14. And above all these things put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. Now, before we get the context, notice it said above all these things put on charity. So charity is above everything we're about to read. If you don't have this is you don't have anything. Verse 12 says, put on therefore as the elect of God, holy and beloved bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another, forgiving one another. If any have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. Amita, see, that's that forgiveness she was talking about. But above forgiveness, above long-suffering, above humbleness, above kindness, put on charity. So that's showing you that charity sticks out separately from these things. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit more. And if you have the charity, these other things fall into place. Charity. That's the thing that makes you perfect. See, the scriptures say, be ye perfect as your Father is in heaven. But nobody's perfect is what everybody wants to say. That's because you lack charity. You're not perfect because you haven't focused on charity. You done read all of these scriptures and know all the deep sayings, right? You know what color Moses' sandals were. You know, make sure always talking about the Moses 11s. And you know what kind of locks Samson really had. And you knew what color the apple was of the tree that Eve pulled from. It wasn't even an apple. Oh, you knew that the trees were men. Oh, you knew that the Roman Empire was this and the Persian Empire was that. You know all of that. Okay, cool. But what good is it if you don't have charity? It also references 1 Timothy chapter 1. Let's go to verse 5 there. It says, now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart and of a good conscience and of faith unfeigned. See, at the end of the day, after all the commandments that we learn, they're all supposed to get us toward charity. Remember what it said. It said that God, this is like an example of God toward us. It's signifying the reciprocal love between God and man. That's what charity is doing. So when we look at the 10 Commandments again, and it talks about the things God said don't do against him, that was him showing his love to us, and we showing it back to him by not, by not offending him. Right? I'm your God, but you're going to make other gods. I give you this timber, and you go defile it. But then also, the other commandments, thou shalt not do this and that to your brother. This is charity. So at the end of the commandment is charity. That's the conclusion of the whole matter, is to fear God and keep the commandments, because that makes you charitable. It says here, in a more particular sense, love, kindness, affection, tenderness, springing from natural relations, as the charity of father, son, and brother. See, you're good at, many of you are good, some of you are not. You need to check your spirit. You're good at doing things for your own, for your child, for your wife, for your husband. But charity puts you in a spirit where this person is not your own, but you treat them as if they are. See, my little brother Ezekiel, that's not my son. That's not my brother. That's not my nephew. but I got to treat him as if he's mine. You know, this sister, she's not my wife, and I'm not getting any benefit from her, but I got to treat her as if she's mine. I got to have that type of spirit toward others as if they're really mine. That's, if you really got charity, you're going to reciprocate love towards them as if it was a natural relationship. But so many people got so much hatred for their own family that I can see why you got so much hatred for a brother or a sister. It says in number 3 here, liberality to the poor, consisting in almsgiving, or benefactions, or gratuitous service to relieve them in distress. So now let's define a couple of these words. When you look up the word almsgiving, just type define almsgiving in Google's search engine. It says it involves giving to others as an act of virtue, either materially or in the sense of providing capabilities. See, it's charitable when you teach others. Like, remember it said if you teach men so, on the positive side, if you teach them to keep the commandments, you're going to be great in the kingdom of heaven. And if you teach them to break them, you're going to be least. Teaching is a charity. Giving someone else the knowledge is a charity. Correcting somebody, counseling somebody, these are charities. These are almsgivings. See, it's not all about money. Even though money is important, money is a defense. But that's not the only way you give. That's not the only way you can be charitable. You just got to couple that, because money needs to be dealt with, as well as the other things. These things ought you not leave undone. You know, but you got to deal with the weightier matters of the law, right? It says benefactions. Benefactions, if you define that, that's a donation or a gift. So charity is physical, material, but it also can be, you know, something like a capability or a service, a time, a moment. It could be a donation or a gift. It could be money. It could be a house. It could be a car. Whatever you want to give, it could be that. That's charity, but you better do it in the right spirit, because remember I said earlier, you could give physically these things, but it still not be counted as charity by the Most High God. Because like I said, when you're giving somebody your trash, well, I mean, you was going to throw it away anyway. I got things right now that if I don't give it to somebody else, I'm going to throw it away. I'm just trying to give somebody an opportunity to get it, but I can't glory off of that. I got to think about the things that I'm willing to sacrifice for somebody else. The time that I put towards building a church, True Spirit of Christ, the time that I put towards counseling a brother, listening, giving ear when they're in the midst of something that they need help with. That's sacrifice. That is counted differently than, I was going to throw it away, but since you want it, here. It says, or in gratuitous service to relieve them in distress. When you define gratuitous, that's given or done free of charge. See, somebody said it. Nicole Bennett said it. When you're doing something and not expecting anything in return. Let's go to Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Merriam-Webster.com and look up charity. It says given unearned or without recompense. It says costing nothing, free. It says not involving a return benefit, compensation, or consideration. Has gratuitous. This is what gratuitous means. I see Chevis in the building, Ariel in the building, Judah and Esther Zuli, Kazak, what's going on, brother? I pray you're doing well. these are moments that we could all get better at. Being charitable is something that you must get better at. Not can, not it's an option, you must. Because if you don't, you have nothing, and you will not get into the kingdom without it. See, a lot of people want to scare you into not getting in the kingdom with lesser things. But when you focus on charity, those other things fall into place, as I was saying earlier. Because if you don't have this, you have nothing. So why have this, and that, and no charity? How about have charity and these other things, add those to it? See, we're looking up the dictionary definition. We're looking at the encyclopedia definition. We're looking at different things here, and we're getting a better understanding of charity. It says, back to where we were in the KJV dictionary, which is av1611.com. It says alms, whatever is bestowed gratuitously on the poor for their relief. See, when we do things for the poor, it should be to relieve them. You got to relieve them. So that's an effort that has to be done to make sure that they feeling better. See, when you're comfortable and then you go into a state of sorrow, a state of discomfort, you want relief from it. And you know what relief feels like for you. So you got to think about that. If you love your neighbor as yourself, the relief that you would want in a situation like that, expect that they would want the same. See, a lot of times our fake have-done charity, you're not giving to the standard that you would want. You want $2 on the food when you go to look it up on your phone or whatever to see how much it costs, right? But you're looking for the $50 to give to those in need. Now, if you was going to get the gourmet meal, a real charitable act, since you love your neighbor as you love yourself, would be to give the same. Now, I'm not saying go broke. You know, you got to give, don't give above your strength, right? You got to make sure that you give according to what you have so that you don't fall into the same situation by giving it. If I got $5 and I give you $5 and now I'm broke, that wasn't a good charitable move right there to a certain extent. Because remember, the Bible always gives you the balance. Don't go too far left. Don't go too far right. But do give. It says liberality in gifts and services to promote public objects of utility, as to found and support Bible societies, missionary societies, and others. So this is showing that you can give to promote the furthering of the gospel, that you can give to help the church be a better steward of the money than you could have, or the gift or the offering or the skill that you have. It promotes public objects of utility, meaning it really helps a lot of people. 6, candor, liberality in judging of men and their actions. You see, y'all not listening right now. This is the time to pay attention. When you have charity, you have liberality in judging of men and their actions, a disposition which inclines men to think and judge favorably, and to put the best construction on words and actions which the case will admit. So, when you have charity, you want righteous judgment. When you have charity, you're willing to take the time to really examine the matter and not be hasty. And your hope is that it makes everybody better, even though you might have to judge and there's a punishment that comes out of it. You hope that punishment is actually for the betterment, the edification of that person. See, if Uzziah was speaking the other day about the correctional facility and how the Bible and being a part of this walk is a correction facility in itself, meaning you want people to get better and be a more productive person in life. Now, that's supposed to be the aim of the jails, the prisons, and whatnot. And even though they get greedy for filthy lucre, we should always be looking to get better. And we should be looking for others to get better and not just to get judged so you can feel like you did something, so you can feel like you laid the smack down on somebody, that you dropped the hammer on somebody, that you cut somebody, but that you improve somebody. That now, because you love your neighbor as you love yourself and you want it good for yourself, that you want it good for them. 7 says, any act of kindness, benevolence, as the charities of life. A charitable institution, charity school, is a school maintained by voluntary contributions for educating poor children. Penny Moore, you can go to midweekmeditations.com and click on the donate button. I see you asking about a donation site. I'll give you the link. To be honest, I'll just make it simple and easy for you. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 13, because the brother brought this up. And we're going to read through it. It's a whole chapter on charity, right? Verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and we already read this verse, but now it's a good review, now that we've gone over so much. Though I speak with tongues of men, though I'm an eloquent speaker. See, I'm messing up words. I'm clearly not the eloquent speaker. Though I got all this vernacular, all this vocabulary, all this inflection, all this enthusiasm, though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and charisma, right? I got all of that. Not me. I know I'm dry. I'm the clear-eyes guy. I got the monotone voice. That ain't me, right? Though I speak with tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. See, all the things that you do is just noise if you lack charity. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries. Oh, okay, you got prophecy, you got mysteries, and all knowledge. And though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. This is important that we learn this. Because all that stuff don't matter if you don't have charity. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, I gave up everything I had to feed the poor. And though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. So there's a spirit that we got to be in. There's more than just giving to feed the poor. There's more than just sacrificing your body. And that's why you got to study this and meditate on it, because it ain't easy to grasp when you're not thinking about it. See, charity, verse 4, suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. Doth not behave itself unseemly. Seeketh not after her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. See, these are the things that you got to make sure is in your spirit. If you got charity, you can go long term where things ain't going right. If you got charity, you're not going to become envious of others. If you got charity, you're not going to puff yourself up and exalt yourself. If you got charity, you're not going to be a misbehaving type of person. If you got charity, you're not going to be selfish, and you're not going to be easily provoked by others who are trying to tempt you. Christ was tempted by the scribes and Pharisees all the time. If you have charity, you won't think evil. See, a lot of people, the first thought you have is always the evil thought. You never think the positive about a person first. You always think the negative first. Something went wrong and you always think they must have hatred for you. They this and they that. But think the positive. Verse 6 says, charity again, right? Rejoiceth not in iniquity. See, some people laugh at you when you sin. Some people laugh at you when you're in iniquity, and they're happy because they know you're going to get destroyed, and that makes them excited. But that ain't a charitable brother there. But rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth. But whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. See, all the things that you think you got right now, the prophecies that you think you can prophesy about, but you're wrong. It comes out that you didn't know what you was talking about. You thought you could speak well, yeah, that's gone away. You thought you had knowledge, that went away. For we know in part and prophesy in part. You find out that you don't know everything you think you know. Hopefully you find that out before it's too late. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. You put away that selfish nature that a child has, and you became charitable. You see, it's very childish of you to lack charity. If you really want to call yourself a man, you better get some charity behind you. See, a lot of you just grown little boys. We got to examine that about ourselves. Are we grown little boys, little girls? Are we adults that act like children? Because if you are lacking charity, you still speak as a child. You still understand as a child. You still think as a child. You still are dealing with childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. That's what we meditated on today. Charity begins at home, and it's so important that if you don't do what you got to do to make sure that you have it, then you're wasting your time. See, a lot of people, you spend years keeping the commandments. Really, making yourself a prisoner to this walk. Really suppressing your desires, maybe not very well, but still to where you could have been living it up in sin, and you suppressing it just enough to be unhappy. So why are you wasting your time if you're not going to get charity? If you going to go all the way with God, y'all better put some focus on charity. Y'all better put some focus on charity. Let's go to 1 Peter 4 and 8. Above all these things have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. See, somebody out there right now is in the midst of adultery. Somebody out there right now is hateful. They stole recently. They might have killed. Somebody out there, it has other gods. Somebody out there is breaking the Sabbath. But your charity can then begin to cover those multitude of sins. Let's go to Hebrews 13 and 2. Let's start at 1. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. That's what I want to leave you with and remind you that as you grow in brotherly love, you better learn how to entertain strangers, because these are your opportunities for Christ to say, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was sick, you visited. These are your opportunities. And it's not to say put yourself in danger. It's to say put yourself in a position to be charitable. Because some of us have never worked and practiced at charity. But it begins at home, and you need to show examples at home so that you know how to apply it in the moments where it matters. One day, a charitable moment is going to be presented in front of you, and you should have already experienced something very much like it, at the house, with those who are close to you. And then it'll be easy, it'll be a light thing for you to do it to those who are not. Charity begins at home. And if you really believe, if you really want this kingdom, you got work to do. You got things to change in your life. You got charity to understand and then begin to work on. So with that, I'm going to say shalom. I want you to get up off of this computer, off of this cell phone, this tablet that you're on, and go be charitable. Go practice that thing. Whether it be giving alms. Somebody just asked what a donation site was. You can give some money. That's charitable. You know something that could help your brother or sister, each one teach one type of thing. All right, set up something so we can learn from you. And don't expect nothing in return. There's a place for you wanting things in return. But there's also a place for you doing something just to benefit others without wanting that in return. So go to midweekmeditations.com to catch up on all the previous meditations, to catch up on the daily verses, to catch up on the Bible trivia. Go to midweekmeditations.com to donate, if you will. I had trouble today with the software. It said that my license was no longer valid. It said I need to buy another one. I don't know why, but I got to figure that out. That might cost some money. That's the thing that allows me to use this camera, so I don't have to just use the webcam on the computer, but I can actually use a nicer camera that will not be blurry and not be fuzzy. Look a little blurry and fuzzy right now. I'm up here bootlegging it a little bit though, so it'll help me get my mic. I'm not even using a good mic today. That didn't work either. So I'm using the laptop mic, so if y'all hear the fan blowing, that's why. If you hear me every time I type it's clicking or touch the table you hear it, that's why. Might need a little money for that. Got to keep the lights on. Having proper lighting is what gives you the opportunity to use the background, right? But no begging here, because my charity has put forth all these things out of my own heart. But money answers all things. Shout out to the brother who was charitable enough to make me this t-shirt, Ezekiel. All praises to the Most High God. I pray that y'all checked out his site. Let me see. It's called... Let me find the brother's site real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second. Looking for the brother's site. I want to shout the brother out. Y'all just bear with me. Quit being impatient. T-shirt land. Yep, my t-shirt land. That's it. Yeah, so if y'all want, if y'all need some custom t-shirts, man, go to mytshirtland.com. The brother Ezekiel hook you up. If you're interested in getting a midweek meditation t-shirt, depending on demand, I may go ahead and start producing those for you. Don't be bootlegging. I know there's a lot of bootleggers out there that go and make them. When I made the Black Christ Matter shirt, bootleggers was out there stealing. When we made the spoils jewelry, bootleggers was out there making the exact same design. You know, there's always somebody that want to steal your idea and run with it so they can make money off of it. But no, I just want to shout the brother Ezekiel out for the charity that he showed. Thank you for the charity of those who helped me put on the broadcast, those who helped keep the website up, who helped me put out all the social media stuff. You know, I can't keep up with social media without you guys. That's charity, that's love. All praise to the Most High God. Y'all go examine that charity, man. I pray y'all are in the spirit and get yourselves together. With that, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to say shalom. I'm going to hit you with the outro. Shalom.